In 1989, an Iowa corn farmer, played by Kevin Costner, uttered the phrase, "If you build it, they will come." In September of 2006, the idea was put to the test. The movie version was a baseball park. In reality, it is a stadium of speed. Today, Iowa Speedway will play host to its third nationwide series race, and if history is any indication, the Heartland is about to produce.
The first nationwide series event ever at this beautiful facility.
Here's Kyle Busch plowing his way to the front of the field as the battle for the lead is on in two.
Go, come on. We can't give up track position. I can't beat them if I do the same thing they do.
Oh, Keselowski stays out, thanks everybody.
Well, it could be a sitting duck or it could be a stroke of genius.
Busch got to the point here in Iowa.
88 car hit his nose underneath Kyle Busch. It's not over. It's a drag race. The 88 of Brad Keselowski with his second win and an inaugural win at Iowa. Oh, yeah!
We're racing again at Iowa. It has been all about that bright red and black number 18, Kyle Busch.
And Kevin Harvick and Ernie Cope are going to go for the money. It will be a two-tire stop.
Here's your battle for the lead. Kyle Busch has caught Kevin Harvick, and Busch taking 4 tires on the last pit stop. Kevin Harvick holding him off until just then.
Kyle Busch across the stripe, checkered flag. He wins here at the Iowa Speedway.
I was worried there with Harvick taking 2 tires, but I got into my rhythm and got up to Harvick there and beat him.
And welcome to race number 12 of the 2011 NASCAR Nationwide Series season, a season that has so far produced 5 different race winners and is currently led by a 16-year NASCAR veteran who is leading the points for the very first time. It has already been a busy weekend. The NASCAR Nationwide Series is here in the small town of Newton, Iowa. Newton is about 30 miles east of the Iowa state capital. The Cup Series, though, spent last night racing for all the money in Concord, North Carolina, about 1,100 miles away. You'll find Charlotte Motor Speedway, home to the Sprint All-Star race. No points on the line. This one was all for the money. Carl Edwards in this one. This is going to take place in 4 different segments. This is segment 2. Edwards in the 99 taking on the 5, Jimmy Johnson. That is for the lead. Go ahead, 10 to go in segment 4. Great restart for Edwards, Kyle Busch, and Greg Biffle. Kyle tries to hang on, so does Biffle for a little bit. Watch that 99 car go. Just pulls away on the final lap. Edwards walks away with $1 million, and at the end of the day, a bent-up race car. So much for using that car in the 600-miler next week. But guess what? Edwards has now made the trip, because after the backflip, he's got a full schedule this weekend. There are 2 Sprint Cup Series regulars in the field here today. Last year's Nationwide Series champion, Brad Keselowski, and the 2007 champion. Talking about Carl Edwards. Both of those guys arrived this morning and both benefited by a qualifying rainout. Keselowski will start 10th. Edwards will start 4th. Dave Burns, what do you got?
Well, thanks, Nicole. First of all, Carl, congratulations on the All-Star win. And everything in the back and forth has operated pretty much on time this weekend. What's your biggest concern jumping into the 60 car here today?
Biggest concern? It's probably Austin Dillon. He was pretty good yesterday, and I'm just having a good day so far. I'm hoping it continues. You know, Mike Beam and all these guys have worked really hard, and it worked out really well to get a few minutes of practice yesterday, and we got Polaris on board, so that's really cool to have them on this Mustang. It's just good to be here. I know you probably feel the same way. It's like a state fair atmosphere. The place is packed. People are excited, and it's neat to come here and race in Iowa.
Okay, now if your good day continues and you get the W today, does your post-race celebration routine change at all after what happened last night?
I probably won't do any of the excavating. I'll probably just keep it to the backflips, and I think Jack probably wouldn't be cool with 2 cars in one weekend no matter what.
All right, we'll see how he does today. Mike Massaro, he starts 4th.
And we've been chronicling the travel situation for Brad Keselowski as well. Unfortunately for him, he didn't get to Iowa till 10 a.m. this morning. What's it like for you knowing the first laps you'll take today at speed will be once the green flag comes out?
I think it's pretty good. I had Sam Ornish, my teammate here, who runs on the nationwide side, and he came in and he did all the practice stuff, and him and Todd Gordon, my crew chief, worked together. So in some way, you just got to have confidence in your guys that work on the car, and Sam, who helped me out, and I want to thank them for that. And just got to believe in what they do and that they got it right.
And they have a lot of confidence. Feel like they've got a car capable of winning today, Nicole.
Thank you, guys. Iowa Speedway. It is a Rusty Wallace design track at 7/8 of a mile, and we have a great perch today, just outside Turn 1. That is where you will find the ESPN pit studio. Inside, you'll find NASCAR team owner Brad Daugherty and the 1999 Sprint Cup Series champion Dale Jarrett. I am Nicole Briscoe. This season has been a season of opportunity for Nationwide Series drivers. Due to some rule changes this year, a Nationwide Series regular will win the championship. And this race, Dale, is an opportunity race with only 2 Cup regulars in it. Who steps up?
Well, I'm wondering, was Carl Edwards watching or listening to our rehearsal?
Because
he kind of stole our thunder. I'm looking at Austin Dillon. He's not a regular, and there are regulars that will have a great opportunity here today. But this young man came here, sat on the pole in the truck race last year, dominated that race. Apparently, this suits his driving style. He was fast in practice. He's the driver everyone is talking about. I think he has a great opportunity here today to go to victory lane.
What about this guy, Justin Allgaier? Was the points leader heading into last weekend's race in Dover. Not off to a great start, though, here.
Yeah, Justin Allgaier had a tough day yesterday in practice. Got loose, backed his car, his primary car into the fence, tore up a really good race car. Feels like the backup car is going to be okay, but there's a little bit of an unknown. I talked to Justin yesterday. After everyone was gone, he was leaning on a toolbox down there, just looking at his bent-up race car. And he said, it wasn't the perfect day today. They did not get a lot of practice, so he doesn't feel like he's that far behind, but he's got a long way to go.
We're talking about opportunity. We would be remiss if we did not mention the points leader in this race, Elliott Sadler. What kind of opportunity does he have today?
Elliott's looking at this as a great opportunity also, but the one thing we have to realize, he's going to have a yellow stripe on his bumper. He's a rookie, never been here. So as I talked to him kind of about this racetrack, he realized there's some things that he was going to have to learn. He hoped to take the first part of this track and make sure that he understood exactly what he needed for the last half of this race to try to get to victory lane.
Yeah, I talked to Elliott as well as Ernie Cope, his crew chief, yesterday, and Elliott brought up a great point. He says, even though KHI has had a lot of success in the Nationwide Series, this is a new car, and this is a new experience, new endeavor, so each week they get better, and they're learning, and I do think they're going to be very, very good as time goes on.
And you think it's almost a must-win?
Oh, it's a must-win because he's going to win several times this year, but he's got to get it started, and I do think he's going to win championship.
So it's an opportunity for those 3 guys, but this is an opportunity race for the 2 guys starting on the front row. With most of the Cup guys staying out of this one, the front row is comprised of a couple of guys we don't often get to hear their names. So we'll talk to Drew Herring and Michael McDowell, plus Iowa Speedway, fairly young track. That said, it's got a bit of character in the form of a bump. So how tricky can one little bump be? And then how about report card time? Let's hand out some grades. Here we are at the end of the first quarter of this season. Great time coming up next on NASCAR Countdown. Back at Iowa Speedway for NASCAR Countdown, a lot of young drivers in the race today, including Austin Dillon. And there he is right there with qualifying rained out. The field is set according to the most part, the rule book. Dillon is going to roll off third in the 33 car. And it's good to see that 33 car too, because if you were with us last week, the tail end of the Dover race, that car had more than just a few of us holding our breath.
On the high side, Logano going for it. Here comes Carl back on the low side.
Oh, he's sideways.
Now it gets Logano. Joey's into the one.
Man, is everybody all right?
Definitely apologize if I did touch Joey. I hope I did not.
Carl never touched him right there. No.
We're trying to get that little bit there at the end and switching and tear up as many cars as it did.
That was a wicked hit that Joey took in a turn for a while. I think the 18 drove through and back of me like it did last week again this week.
That was pretty wild, man. I tell you, I thought I was going over the wall. That would have been really scary.
Just saw Boyer's car about flipping, and I got hit. Hell, I don't even know what happened.
Wow, that was wicked.
Well, racing in that number 33 car here this weekend is Austin Dillon, who doesn't only have laps and races here at Iowa. You also won a race, a truck race, last season. How has that past experience at this racetrack helped you this weekend?
I think just knowing where I'm at when I hit the track. You can go out there and run really hard, fast, early, and try and adjust on what I need to the Nationwide car. I'm trying to get the same feel I had in the truck, and I think we've got it really close, so it should be a good race for us.
I want you to finish this sentence for me. With so few Cup drivers in the field, this race is a what?
This race is a win for all the guys that aren't Cup drivers in here, so we got to go out there and run well. But I really like going against the Cup guys. I actually think it's better just so we can go out there and prove ourselves against them. But we got to go do it ourselves. So today will be a good race for all of us, and hopefully a really good race for me.
And you heard Carl Edwards say this is the guy he's watching out there today. Austin rolls off third.
Well, from Austin Dillon to a driver making a milestone start today, Kenny Wallace made his nationwide series debut at Martinsville on September 24th, 1988. Today, it is nationwide series start career number 500 for him. He will roll off 14th, and we will get to hear from Kenny Wallace, the recipient of a pretty big trophy down there during driver intros. Later on today, because he is our in-race reporter. Well, from race reporters to report cars. We are just past the first quarter of this season, so we figured it's about time to hand out some grades. And who better to grade the drivers than the drivers themselves?
I'm giving my team an A. And the reason why is we started in such a hole and behind everybody at Daytona. We really have fought back here in the last 10 or 11 races.
Elliott Sadler to the top of the leaderboard.
We've made very consistent runs at a lot of these racetracks.
I'm going to grade myself, it'll probably be lower, but I give my team an A. We had a lot of changes over the offseason. New car, new owner, everything.
And we're racing at Bristol.
Bristol was a decent race for us. Qualified second, but it was a long time ago in racing terms.
I think so far this year I would give our team a B. Dover was the first race in a long time that we showed up at the racetrack, and our car was really good right off the trailer.
There was a big stack up right at the line to enter pit road. There's damage on the 32.
Had a little pit road incident that put us to the back, and luckily we were able to get back to the top 5.
I think if I had to grade our team this year, I would give it an A. Biggest reason why is because new team, new crew chief, putting all the pieces of the puzzle together.
Points leader Justin Allgaier. Tire goes down on the right front.
And if it hadn't been for a blown tire last week at Dover, I feel like we probably would have still been leading the points.
I'm going to give my team and myself a B+. Felt like we gave some races away. Miscalculated fuel mileage.
Problems with the 6. He looks to be out of gas, so he's slow on the racetrack.
I've made some mistakes. It's cost us the top 5. So I'm getting better. But I think by the end of the season, we'll have an A+ team for sure.
I love the effort that went into those grades. You got some shading and some colors. If you look at the top 5 in points right now, to whom would you give the highest grade?
Yeah, mine's not so pretty here, but I give Elliott Sadler, they're leading the points. I give them a B+. I think there's room for improvement. They've done a great job, as Elliott said, coming back from Daytona, having that disappointment, but they've got some room. They need to step up there, get to victory lane, and then that grade will go up.
Yeah, for me, the two guys that were really realistic were Reed Sorensen and Ricky Stenhouse. Ricky Stenhouse, I give a B+. I give him the highest grade. Everyone else gets a B. You don't get an A until you win. Until you get to victory lane, you don't get the golden star.
Okay, so if the highest grades are a B, what are we looking at for low scores?
Yeah, low scores are all Bs. All of these guys are doing an outstanding job, having really good seasons. It's just their runs have been very, very identical as far as finishes are concerned. Someone amongst this group of guys, the ones we've chosen, has to step up, go toe-to-toe with Carl Busch and Carl Edwards and get to that victory lane.
So let me get this straight. The good grades are a B. The bad grades are a B. What's the difference maker? Because one of those drivers is going to win the championship.
Yeah, I think the difference is going to be the experience that Elliott Sadler brings to his race team. Kevin Harvick there leading this charge. Ernie Cope there. I think they have a really solid effort going, but I think Elliott's experience, he's raced in the chase in the Sprint Cup side, so he understands about racing for points. He gets the most out of each and every week, and I think that's the difference right now. But if these others can step up, start going to victory lane, they're going to put a lot of pressure on them.
Experience in the driver's seat, experience for the teams. Well, that's the difference maker for this season. You know what could be a difference maker in this race today? We're talking about the track itself, because in the last 2 years, there's been one particular corner that hasn't exactly played nicely. Turn 2. How do you prepare from that? Well, we'll talk about that next on NASCAR Countdown.
Live on ABC.
Back here at Iowa, Mother Nature appears to be playing along today, but she wasn't in the best of moods yesterday. Rain at the track earlier in the day on Saturday meant the end of qualifying, so the field, as we said earlier, is set for the most part based on the rule book. The 18 and 20 cars of Joe Gibbs Racing are 1 and 2 in owner points, and that means today's front row is comprised of a driver making his 5th Nationwide Series start and a NASCAR journeyman. For more on them, here's Mike Massara.
It's shaping out to be quite the weekend for Drew Herring aboard the 20 car for Joe Gibbs Racing. Just your 5th start in this series, Ed. You're on the pole. What's that like?
It's pretty exciting. We got a little bit because of the weather, of course, but yesterday our Toyota Camry Sport Clips was fast. We were really excited in practice. I had a good balance in it, So I'm just excited to be leading this field to the start. We're in Iowa. We've got a great group of fans out here today, and just ready to get this thing rolling. Anxiety's building. I'm just ready to get in the car and get in my office and do some work.
The good news for Herring, he has raced here once before. In fact, it was his best career Nationwide Series finish, 15th last July, Dave.
And I'm with Michael McDowell right now.